Hi guys, it's me Umair and this is the tutorial on JavaScript library Jquery. If you want to learn Jquery or in the process of learning Jquery, it's always the good practice to start doing small projects or small tasks. So this is the sign up form. In this tutorial I will show you how to confirm password based on some checks. So what it does is if you enter a password in this field, it will show an error message that password length should be at least 7 characters. Alright, so I will enter 7 characters, it will vanish away. In the second field, what I will do, I will have to match this password with the previous one. So I will enter a password, it will show an error message that please confirm your password unless the password doesn't match. Okay, if the password matches, then the submit button will be enabled and we can submit the form. So the purpose of this tutorial is to learn Jquery and learn the basics of it. So let's start. The IDE I'm using is the WebStorm, but you can use other IDEs as well, like Notepad++ or Sublime Text. So this is the empty project right now that I have created. You can create from file, new project, and create empty project. Alright. So first what I'll do, I will make a user interface as fast as I can because this is not the tutorial of HTML and CSS. I hope that you already know HTML and CSS. So let's create HTML and CSS files for creating the user interface. Alright, so I will make new files index, okay, and I will create another file of style, okay, CSS file. So let's start and create some. I'll not explain what I'm doing in HTML because you must know HTML and CSS. So let's do it. First I will add a link to my CSS file. So that would be style sheet, okay, and href would be style and type would be text CSS. Alright, so now come to the body and I will create a form action with, okay, method equals to post. Inside this form I need to create some div tags, alright, and label, username. Under this label I need to create the input ID equals to username, name equals to username, type equals to text, okay. Now let's copy and paste it for the password field. Alright, so this has to be the password, ID password, name password, and type has to be password as well. Alright, and after that I need to create a span tag for showing the error message, okay. I will show and hide this error message with the help of Jquery. If the password is correct, then we will show this error. If the password is incorrect, then if the password is correct, then we will hide this, and password is incorrect, then we will show it, okay. So password longer than 7 characters. Alright, so let's copy it and paste it again. Change the label from password to confirm password, and ID has to be confirm underscore password. Copy it, paste it, and type has to be password again. And for the message it has to be please confirm your password. Alright, and below it I need to create a div tag and input type submit for the button. Alright, and value has to be submit, and ID has to be submit. Okay, so this is the user interface. So let's see what we have. Right now we need to write the CSS, but before that let's check it. So this is the form. We need to style it a bit and bring it at the center of our page. Okay, now let's go and write some CSS for it. Okay, so form, font family to be sans serif, font size has to be 10 pixels, padding has to be 50 pixels, background has to be 9 BCCFF. Okay, max width has to be 400 pixels, margin 100 pixels auto and 0. Okay, now let's do it with the div tag, margin 0, 0, 3 em 0. Okay, position has to be relative. Now for the label, to add font size 50 pixels. Now for the error messages, I need to select the span tag and display block, font size equals to 15 pixels, position has to be absolute. That we will do with the hard-coded paddings. So background has to be hash 2D2C87. Okay, the dark below, and color has to be white. Padding 10 pixels, width 180 pixels, left 105%, and top has to be 10 pixels. So we have the form, div, label and span. So what we left with, we are left with input tags. Before that, let's check it. Okay, so now we need to add some more code a bit. So let's do it. Okay, so let's go here and add some code for input. Okay. Display block with 100%, height has to be 20 pixels. Okay, now for the input submit button, input, and I will submit, check if it is submit. Okay, for that I will add a background. Background has to be 2F558E. Okay. Now let's add some color to it. Hash DBDAE5. Okay. So font size has to be 2 em. Height has to be 40 pixels. let's see. Okay, so we are done with it. Now we need to set its width a bit smaller. So now let's go and do it like this one. So for that, um, so the problem was here that this is not the underscore but this is the hash. Okay, so now let's go and check it out. So you can see that our form is of a nice width, it is at the center, and these error messages are being shown that we will handle with our jQuery code. Okay, so we are done with our HTML and CSS. Now let's go and write some jQuery. Before that, we need to add the reference to the file, jQuery file. We can download the jQuery file as well, but we can also add the reference to jQuery file for online CDN. Okay, so for that we can add src, and the online file would be at code.jquery.com/jquery #1.11.0.main.js. Okay, its type would be JavaScript because it's a JavaScript library. Now we need to add a jQuery file, and that has to be app.js. Okay, before that, come here and add the reference to our app.js file. Okay, so script source app.js, its type would be JavaScript. So now we need to write some jQuery code for implementing the required functionality of our form submission. Alright, so for first what we need to do now, we need to hide those error messages when we load our form. So for hiding those messages, we will use these two tags. We know that these are the only tags, span tags, that contains the error messages. So for that we will select these tags, alright, and hide those. Okay, so if we reload it, we can see that there are no error messages. Alright, now what we need to do is we need to check this field first, that if its length is greater than or equal to 7, then don't show the error messages. If it is less than 7, then show the error message. Alright, so now let's go and do it. First we need to write some functions that will check if there is an event, key up event on that input text box, and then we need to write a function to check if the length of that text box is greater than equal to 7 or not. Alright, so now we need to check if event is occurred. So password dot key up event, and it will receive a function for showing that message. So first we need to add a function to check if its length is greater than equal to 7 or not. Is password valid, alright, and return password dot value dot length is greater than 6. Alright, now we need to write another function that is error message event. Alright, and in this function we need to check that if the password is valid, then show that error message. If the password is invalid, then if the password is valid, then hide it. If the password is invalid, then show it. Okay, so now if we check inside it, that if is password valid, then what we can do is we can hide this span tag. So how we can detect that this span tag should we hide or this span tag should we hide, because both the tags are not containing or having IDs or classes that we can use to hide and show these messages. So what we can do now, we can use another messages, another built-in functions like next or previous, next child, previous child. Some of these functions can be used for this purpose. So for that we can hide this if this will refer to the current input text box that we are using. If we are entering keys on this text box, it will occur the key up event, and this will refer to this input tag. Alright, so now we will refer to the very next tag of this input tag. Okay, so now next dot height. Okay, now we can add an else event and then copy and paste it and show it. Alright, now what we need to do now, if we enter any key inside that text box, this key up event will occur and this will call this function. Okay, this will call this function, it will call this function to check if the password is valid. If the password is valid, then show that span error message. Now let's go and check it if it works or not. So now let's go, so you can see A, B, C. So it's not working. Now let's go and check where we are wrong. So value dot length is greater than 6, return, and now we can use this error message event, and it's checking this, and this dot next dot hide, and this dot next dot show. So it seems really fine. In order to check the errors, let's press F12 to see where is the error. Length is not a function. So well, this is the error, that we don't use brackets for the length. It's a property, not the function. Okay, so now let's go and check it again. Now let's write, so you can see the error message has been shown. Now let's write 7 characters. So you can see that the error messages have vanished away, so it's working really fine. Now I remove any error, so it's showing again. So it's working really fine. Now we need to check the confirm message, confirm password. Alright, so let's go and write a function here that is password matching. In here we can check return confirm password, that is the ID of second input text box, dot value equals to password dot value. Alright, it has to be ID as well. So this function will check if the confirm password is matching the actual password. If it's not equal to, then it will return false. Before that, we need to check the key up event for confirm password. Okay, so confirm password dot key up event, and it will call a function called match password. Alright, it has to be a $sign. Now let's write a function for match password. So match password, it will call this function to check if the password is matching or not. If it returns true, it means that the passwords are matching. If the passwords are matching, then we need to hide this error message. Alright, so if is password matching, then select the current next dot hide. Alright, and else this next dot show. Alright, so I think it's pretty much fine. Now let's see if it works. So let's write a password first. So let's write 7 characters. It has gone. Now let's write confirm. The message is showing. Now let's write the same characters as we write in the password input box. So it's gone. So 7. So you can see that the message is gone when we match the password of original and the confirm message password. Now it's working really fine. Now what we need to do, we need to enable and disable this button if any of these error messages are being shown. Alright, so for that let's go and write another function called enable button. Alright, and in here I can enable and disable button with the help of a built-in jQuery property prop that we can use to get any attribute of any tag of HTML element. We can get the attribute of this tag, the attribute name is disabled, that we can set true or false. Alright, so let's first pick that button. Alright, so prop, and now let's select its attribute disabled, and now we can what we can do here is that we can write another function that will call both these functions. If both these functions return true, then that function should return true. Alright, so let's go ahead and is button enabled. So let's call this function is password valid and is password matching. Okay, so let's return it. So this is the function that we can use here. If this returns false, then disabled will be true. If this returns true, then disabled will be false. Okay, now we need to change the color of button in order to see if it's really working or not, because we are not changing the color of button, it will remain dark blue color. It will not look really good. Alright, so now we can check if is button enabled. Then we will first select the button with its ID and use the CSS function. Inside here we can background, and we can set its value to D3, D3, D3. Alright, and we can also set its color to black. Alright, if it's disabled, then it has to be black. Alright, now let's copy and paste it and change it to F and change it to 2F558E. Alright, now we need to call this function in order to enable or disable button. We can call this function another selector, and we can call it right here as well. Alright, so enable button. Alright, so dot key up event, it has to be enabled as well. So I think it's done. And now let's see if it's working or not. Okay, so let's write password. So button is disabled. Alright, so it's working. Okay, so you can see that it's working really fine. Alright, now both error messages are being shown. The button is disabled and its color has been changed. The color of text as well and the background color of the button both have been changed. So I think this is all in this tutorial. I hope that you have liked it and you have learned many things inside jQuery, that how to use selectors, how to apply events on those selectors, and how to hide and show different things inside jQuery. It can be done with JavaScript as well, but it is pretty easy using jQuery. I will make a tutorial on the same thing on the form validation with the help of JavaScript framework AngularJS. That is a really good framework that really helps a lot for handling error detections or form validations. It is more easy than the jQuery as well. So make sure to subscribe this channel and stay tuned. I'll be doing small projects and small tasks rather than explaining you individual things inside jQuery. I hope that you have liked it. Comment below if you have any questions. So thanks for watching this video.